leaks around your house every day. Every drop counts. When brushing your teeth, don't let the water run away. Come save the water, preserve the water right now. Every drop counts. Save the water whenever you take in your shower. Every drop counts. Make saving the water your business every hour. The water, the water, the water, the water right now. It's up to me and you and you and you and you. The water right now.
Do just one thing.
Welcome to The Waterline. I am your host, Jamie Morris, Communications Officer in the Ministry of Public Infrastructure, Energy and Utilities, and a lot of things going on. You can judge by the title. With me today on The Waterline, I have the Chief Engineer of the St. Kitts Water Services Department, Mr. Landrith, Mikhail. I also have next to him, to his left, the Director of the Energy Unit, Dr. Bertill Browne, and to their right, Energy Officer in the Energy Unit, Denasio Frank. Good morning, gentlemen. Thank you for joining me for this edition.
Good morning.
And of course, thank you to the Water Services Department for being gracious to allow you to join me today, and him as well, as we talk about Energy Month and, of course, finding solutions across the energy and water sectors.
Definitely.
So, as many of you may know by now, if we've been doing a good enough job of publicizing it, this is CARICOM Energy Month, and so today's topic obviously will delve into the connections between water and energy. And to get started, I would like my guests, of course, to explain very briefly the connections between water services and energy, and in particular, why is that connection, or those connections, why are they so important for a small island such as St. Kitts and Nevis?
Sure, I'll begin. Well, thank you for having us. Of course, we realize that we can't have water without energy or electricity, so that's surprising to most. I guess from the history point of view, once upon a time, we just used to rely on surface water, which was just your gravity feed the water, no energy needed. But now we have wells. These wells are 200, 300, 500 feet underground, which requires a significant amount of energy to get that through your taps. Now we're moving to desalination, which is also energy intensive. And so the water and energy nexus has really evolved over time. And so we are really reliant on energy right now with regards to water.
Yes, Dr. Browne, please.
If I may add to what he said, the energy industry also need water. It depends on water. For example, at the power station, the normal fossil fuel power station, we have generators, engines, very similar to what's in your vehicle. You have radiators, and they are cooled by water. It is so critical that they actually have storage, so that if there is an outage in the water supply, they could continue producing electricity for some time. Mm-hmm. Also, it's used for cleaning, washing at the power station. If you go to geothermal, which is under development right now, the drilling phase takes a lot of water. Mm-hmm. It's so much water that they cannot rely on the public water supply. So one of the first things they usually do is drill their own well before they start drilling the geothermal to get their own water. The geothermal process itself involves water, because you have hot rocks with water and then which is steam. That steam comes up, drives the process to generate the electricity, and is re-injected back into the aquifer, whatever you want to call it, to replenish and start a cycle again. Mm-hmm. In that stage, you don't need much water from the public supply. It's just the drilling phase that you need this lot of water. Mm-hmm. And then even in solar, the solar panels, they gather dust and other particles that reduce the efficiency. Mm-hmm. And so from time to time you have to clean them, and you use water to clean them. So that is, so we need water.
And another way to say
it's a symbiotic relationship.
Very well put. Another way to say it very simply is water is life, and every drop That's what we say here. All right, so very briefly, before I segue into the section of today's show where, of course, I'll engage more individually with my guests, I do want to give the public the numbers that they can call if they want to make a comment or interact with you. So it's 465-1977. That is the telephone number, 465-1977, to interact with my guests. All right, so again, the theme for this year's CARICOM Energy Month is Invest, Innovate, Sustain, leading the charge in renewable energy frontiers. I just want everyone to keep that in mind as we continue with this discussion. In a little while, I will, of course, bring the energy unit team on board to explain this a little more. But Mr. Isaac, since you are here, and this is the waterline, I have some questions for you.
Sure.
First one being, let's talk about the challenges. So what are some of the biggest challenges that the department currently faces in delivering a reliable and steady water supply?
One of our main challenges, of course, is the aging infrastructure. This result in a lot of leaks, or a lot of what we call non-revenue water. We're also seeing a reduced yield in our supply, of course, due to the climate variability. This affects both the surface water, the increased temperatures, you have more evaporation, as well as the groundwater, so you have less infiltration into the ground. So this is also quite a challenge for us. And of course, St. Kitts and Nevis is rapidly growing. And so it's just trying to find that balance between system rehabilitation and expanding new infrastructure. And so, which is why we're so happy for the development of this new desalination plant that we're really looking forward to. So some of these challenges could be mitigated.
All right, and to your point, I know it's something that the minister said before. I know it's something that Mr. Williams, the water managers, also referred to relative to the cost, the energy costs associated with desalination. So, and this is open to any of you, of course. How does the energy cost compare between sourcing water from wells versus, surface water versus desalination?
And so, as I mentioned earlier before, we just used to rely on surface water, which was gravity fed. So you didn't really have any energy costs for that. Now we have the groundwater wells. It takes a lot of energy to pump this water from these wells, get them to the storage tanks, which is also elevated, and then distribute them to the general public. When I took a glance at some of our electrical costs from 2024, on a month time, maybe it averages about $400,000 a month. That's just on the groundwater wells. And so it could range from a well, and these are just operating maybe 5 hours a day, 16 hours a day, some 24 hours a day. And so it's very electrically costly to get water. And then now we're moving to desalination, which might be threefold that. And so we're trying to balance that, and keeping the cost at $20 a month is definitely a challenge, relying on persons to pay their bills, of course. And so I wanted to encourage everyone to please come and pay their bills so we could continue to get that water to you.
And you've made it easy because they can pay their bills physically, they can pay their bills online, water.gov.kn if you need to. All right, so let's talk about something that you said, because there's an interesting bridge between the cost of, let's say, providing water through desalination, and also some of the measures that the Water Services Department has used to offset that cost, particularly when it comes to the desalination plant in Canada. Solar panels.
Correct.
Let's talk about that, and feel free to weigh in, gentlemen.
So this is quite beneficial for us. It's an energy efficient way to get that water from the seawater. As we mentioned, desalination could be quite energy intensive, and that's only because it's the reverse osmosis process, and we use these high pressure pumps. And so you're taking very small molecules of salt, which we know from chemistry, NaCl or sodium chloride, and taking H2O water, and you're squeezing these small NaCl, sodium chloride molecules out from the H2O. And so this requires a lot of energy. And so to do that using the solar panels and not relying on the fuel or from Skellex grid is quite beneficial. And so this definitely reduces costs.
So as the conversation continues, obviously there is a great marriage between your two departments, and I understand even better now why they are also housed under the same ministry. It makes a lot of sense for it to be that way. Let's talk a little bit about the theme, if I can bring you gentlemen into it again, just to remind the general public, this is CARICOM Energy Month, and the theme for this month of celebrations is Invest, Innovate, Sustain, leading the charge in renewable energy frontiers. So, Dr. Browne, tell us about the theme and how we can see its implementation this year.
As you would be aware, almost all of our electricity at present, and even transportation, is from fossil fuel. And we are now trying to move to renewable energy, wind, solar, geothermal. And it's a new frontier for us. So that is why we are calling it a new frontier. And in moving there, it would require enormous amount of investment. The upfront capital cost is very high. To get there, we have to be innovative. Being a small island state, we do not have a lot of the resources that larger countries have. So we have to be innovative in the way we go about it, in the way we finance it, and so forth. And then we have to sustain this drive towards renewable energy, 100% renewable energy. We have to sustain it. Yes.
I love the way you rattled that off, but I know it's not easy work. I mean, I'm hearing things that you're listing, but I know definitely it's not easy work. What do you have to add, Denasio? You're the one on the ground working as well.
Well, I have to agree with Dr. Browne.
It's a lot. It's a lot. All right. So since you're being so quiet, I'm going to turn the attention to you because normally our viewers don't know this. You're generally not that quiet. So again, we're talking about CARICOM Energy Month, and there are quite a few activities that people can associate with the month. What can you tell us about what you've planned?
Okay. So this year we have been very active, especially as it relates to programs and policies and initiatives for the energy sector. So this year our focus, as the theme suggests, invest, sustain, innovate. We have been doing a lot more focused activities on that theme. So, of course, we opened with the Minister's Address, which touched on a lot of the things that we're doing. We visited the Antioch Baptist Church to open a month of activities. And then our main activity for this year is actually the launch of a program. So, we are looking into, we've been speaking a lot about compensating persons for the excess energy that they produce. So we are looking to launch that program now, and we're aiming for the end of this month to launch that program. So when you have your solar systems, you can, whatever any excess you generate, you can actually get compensated for that.
All right. I want you to stay there for a little bit because something Dr. Browne said earlier concerning the upfront costs, right, as we're shifting to renewable energy. So I'm curious to know how the department is working to address that with stakeholders, with the public generally, because we're talking about a launch. So is there anything that you can add to that anyone listening might say, you know what, I might be interested in solar, but I might not have the funds. How are we going to go about that?
Well, first, we must understand that right now there are concessions for solar equipment. You can actually bring them in duty-free as of right now. So that is already established. What we're going to be doing to add to that is that we're going to be compensating you for any excess you produce. So if the upfront cost is, say, $2,000, and this is just a rough estimate, it's just not an actual figure. Let's suppose you spend $2,000 on a system. First of all, you're going to be saving money on your electricity bill. That goes back into the payment of the system. So you have your upfront costs, and then you're going to be saving. So that extra money can go back into paying back for your system. On top of that, you're going to be compensated for any excess you produce. So that is an additional savings. So that can help with the bills. And of course, once you make back make back the amount that you spent, then you will actually be making a profit in a way. So it's an investment.
And a win-win for the country, win-win for,
the country,
pockets. All right, please continue.
Yep.
Yes, so again, one of our main events, we want to launch that program. The launch is also going to feature the launch of a electric vehicle transition policy. And of course, electric vehicles, we have a very small country. And as the minister would say, if you're going home and if you're going to work and home and back home, and you're not venturing off, doing God knows what, then you can actually make your rounds around saying it's within a full charge of an electric vehicle. So that is very beneficial to this country. And we're going to be launching a policy that will incentivize persons to be able to access those vehicles. You can access them at this present moment because there are vehicles that are priced fairly competitive with regular ICE vehicles, but we are hoping to have concessions along with the policy that will further incentivize persons to be able to access those vehicles. So that is something that we're aiming to launch this month as part of Energy Month. And of course, the final activity is the Glow Walk, which is the 29th. And that is just a fun activity to get persons out and, encourage health and fitness as part of the Energy Month activities.
All right, great. So if I may for a second, because I'm going to be devil's advocate here since we're not getting any callers, and again,
Sure.
you can call us at 465-1977, but to be devil's advocate here. All right, so we're looking at launching not only the solar PV rooftop program, right, but we're also looking at a policy and plan for electric vehicles. What can you tell us in terms of, let's say, short-term or even long-term goals for electric vehicles? What quota are we looking to see relative to the vehicles that we have on the island right now? Is there a percentage that we're looking?
So right now there's practically a handful of electric vehicles. We have a lot more hybrids than we do fully electric. And a lot of the dealerships, they actually do sell hybrids at this present moment. So they've been selling hybrids. But we actually have a target that was established by what we call the nationally determined contributions. So our target is 2% of our national fleet would be converted to electric. That's either fully or hybrid electric vehicles by 2030. So we're aiming to push that so that we're going to have 2% of our fleet as electric by 2030.
And that's exactly what I wanted to get at. So thank you very much for stating that.
Yes.
All right, so we are in the middle of a very engaging conversation because we don't always have you two together. This is, unfortunately, let's say one time a year generally when we're celebrating CARICOM Energy Month that you two come together. But you actually work very closely together as well. So
sure.
As we continue our conversation, I want to talk a little bit more about, let's say, integration or opportunities for integration, even opportunities for collaboration. What do you consider the biggest opportunities for even further collaboration between your departments as we look towards sustainable energy goals, as we look towards ensuring that people are on board with the agenda of the ministry and the country?
Yeah, there's a lot of potential for synergy between water and energy. We would have already mentioned desalination, of course, and using the solar power, which we have at Canada Estate, and which I'm sure we'll also integrate for the Bastille desalination plant in the future as well. But beyond that, we also have integrated what we call variable frequency drives, or VFDs, which is a type of equipment that is helps to address that expensive cost of energy as well with regards to electrical use. So that's some of the equipment that we've integrated into the Bastille desalination plant as well. So essentially the two sectors working together can make both systems stronger and more sustainable. We can also look at getting solar panels for our pumping stations. So this is something that's on the scope as well. And so we just really want to modernize the way we do things with regards to our electrical or energy usage in regards to our water operations.
Wonderful. Anything to add?
Okay. The capacity within the energy sector from an engineering perspective that could be used to assist the water department. He spoke about the variable frequency drive. They use pumps. The technical persons in the energy unit could help them specify pumps, the most efficient pumps to use, and that would reduce their electricity cost. You have the panels. A study, a consultancy was done as far back as 2017 for solar, which included other things, but one of the things was solar panels and the pumping stations. That hasn't been implemented yet. The government is seeking funds to implement that. So that's something good thing. The other thing is in the electricity system, there are SCADA systems that remotely open switches in the field, close switches in the field, monitor what's going on in the field. There is the possibility, instead of, I don't think water department has one yet, instead of the Skellig has one and the water department have one, they use a single one. I don't know. There may be some technical challenges to it, but that is a possibility that we could look at.
All right. So it's amazing how quickly time flies when we are talking energy and water and the connectivity there. But I'm going to put pressure on you because we only have a few minutes left. Actually, we probably have about 1 minute left. But I'll put pressure on you anyway, since there will be pressure on me if I talk any longer. But here's my question. If you could pick one headline, final question, if you could pick one headline outcome that you would hope to see in the next 3 years for St. Kitts and Nevis, based on your experience, based on what you know about energy, about water, one headline, what would it be? Let me start with Denasio.
Okay, it would be the establishment of a geothermal power plant. That would be my headline. That will be a game changer for St. Kitts. I will always stress that. And of course, it uses water, uses energy. That would be the big headline for me.
All right, I can see it.
I guess that's easy for me. Conservation. You might not see it this way, but saving water could save energy as you fix your leaks, as you use more efficient fixtures or using appliances like low flow washers, etc. With less water, so less energy needed to do these things. So I would say conservation.
Great. Dr. Browne?
I would expand on what Denasio said, in that our electricity is 100% produced from renewable energy sources. And also we have almost all of our transport being electric vehicles. And we have the capacity to supply the domestic users plus that transport with total renewable energy. It will be good for us in terms of the cost. It would be good for us in terms of the climate, and it would also be good for us in terms of our security, our reliability, and outside fossil fuel coming and the volatility in terms of fossil fuel.
Right, so there was obviously a lot more to talk about, so hopefully we won't see you again in a year's time. Note that, because there's definitely a lot. But I do want to thank you for coming by, joining us, of course, for this edition of The Waterline. Dr. Bertill Browne, Director of the Energy Unit, Senior Engineer in the Water Services Department, Mikhail Isaac, and Energy Officer in the Energy Unit, Denasio Frank. I'm Jamie Morris, Communications Officer in the Ministry of Public Infrastructure, saying to you, have a great rest of the day.
Thank you.
Water is life, 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 life. Water is life, 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 life. Do just one thing,
Every drop come. Make sure you check for leaks around your house every day. Every drop come. When brushing your teeth, don't let the water run away. Come save the water, preserve the water right now. Save the water whenever you take in your shower. Every drop counts. Make saving the water your business every hour. The water, the water, the water, the water right now. It's up to me and you and you and you and you. The water right now.
do just one thing.
Don't touch that dial. More Sugar Mass 54 music right after this quick break.
At ZIZ, we want to take a moment to salute our small business owners and encourage you to support them. Our small business owners are always hard at work providing